So today, we're going to peek behind a curtain that most people never, ever get to see. We're looking at a military software specification. It's kind of like the hidden blueprint behind some of the most complex and expensive software on the planet. And we're going to break down all that dense government speak into what it really is: the ultimate owner's manual.
I mean, think about it. If you're the government and you're spending millions, sometimes billions of dollars on a critical piece of software, say for a fighter jet or a command and control system, what do you actually get? A disk? A download link? And how do you really know you got everything you paid for? More importantly, how do you make sure you can fix it or upgrade it 10, maybe 20 years from now? That's the huge fundamental problem we're going to get to the bottom of today.
So here's our game plan. It's pretty straightforward. First, we'll really dig into that billion-dollar question. Then, we'll pull back the curtain on the government's answer to it, this owner's manual. After that, we'll peek inside to see how it's built, translate the technical jargon into what it actually does, and finally, we'll connect all the dots to see why this seemingly boring document is so important.
All right, let's dive into section 1, the billion-dollar question. You got to understand, we're not talking about your average app here. We are talking about software that absolutely cannot fail. These are massive, long-term investments, and the risks are just enormous. You can't just cross your fingers and hope for the best. And here's the real danger, right? Without a super detailed, legally binding checklist that spells out exactly what done looks like, a contractor could just hand over a black box. Sure, it might run today, but what happens next year when you find a bug? Or what about in 10 years, when the original developers are long gone? You could literally be left with a fantastically expensive digital paperweight. This is exactly why a non-negotiable standard isn't just a nice to have. It's the only way to guarantee that you actually own what you paid for. So that brings us to section 2 and the solution, the ultimate owner's manual. Now, its official name is the Software Product Specification, or SPS for short. And you should know this isn't just some user guide. It's the definitive, ironclad proof of what was built and delivered. And this is it. This is the actual document. Now, that official title, Data Item Description, that's just classic government speak, isn't it? Let's translate that. It's basically a template, a very precise set of instructions that tells a contractor exactly what needs to be in the box when they hand over the finished software. No ambiguity, no wiggle room. Okay, let's look at the official definition, straight from the source. The keywords here are everything. You've got the executable software, the source files, the as-built design info, and all the procedures for compilation, build, and modification. See? It's not just the program that runs, it's the entire ecosystem you need to understand it, recreate it from scratch, and even change it down the road. And this, right here, is probably the most important idea to get. The SPS is not the plan of what you hoped to build, it's the as-built blueprint of what you actually built. It's just like in construction, right? The final drawings have to show how the building was really put together, including all the little changes made along the way. Well, the SPS is that final, definitive record of the software as it exists in the real world. Okay, so we've established this is the ultimate owner's manual. But what's actually in it? What's inside the box? In Section 3, we're going to unpack it and see exactly what the government demands. It really boils down to 4 non-negotiable pillars. First, you get the executable software. That's the thing you can actually run. Second, you get the source files, all the human-readable code that the developers wrote. Third, the build information, which is like the exact recipe you need to turn that source code back into the running program. And fourth, the modification procedures, the instruction manual for how to make changes correctly in safety. If you don't have all 4 of those, you don't really own the software, period. But wait, there's more. It goes even deeper than just the code. The spec demands a complete paper trail. You need a high-level system overview, that as-built design we keep talking about, a detailed report on how much memory and processing power the software uses, and this really important thing called requirements traceability. Think of it like a map that connects every single feature request to the exact piece of code that makes it work. It's all about creating this complete, self-contained package of knowledge. Okay, on to Section 4, from code to clicks. Let's make this all super practical. What's the real-world difference between all these parts, and why does getting the whole package matter so much? Let's use that house analogy again, because it's perfect. Think of the executable software as the finished house. You can live in it, you can flip the light switches, open the doors, it all works. But the source files, those are the architectural blueprints. If you ever want to add a new room or fix the plumbing or rewire the electricity, you can't just start knocking down walls. You need the blueprints. The SPS demands that you get both the finished house and the complete set of blueprints. And this brings us back to what I like to call the golden thread: traceability. See, Section 6 of this document requires that every single software component can be traced all the way back to the specific feature it's supposed to implement. This means for every little thing the government asks for, the contractor has to point to the exact lines of code that make it happen. It is the ultimate accountability check. It proves not only that everything was built, but it shows you exactly where to find it if you need to fix it.
So, let's bring it all home in our final section. After all this, why does this dense, bureaucratic-sounding document actually matter so much in the real world? What's the big deal?
Well, here's the payoff. This whole specification process, it ensures the government gets a complete working product, not just a part of one. It guarantees that the software can be maintained for decades, long after the original programmers have retired. It creates a perfect auditable record for total accountability. And maybe most importantly, it protects the massive taxpayer investment in these critical national security systems. Yeah, it's bureaucracy, but it's the kind of bureaucracy that actually ensures things work for the long haul. So I'll just leave you with this one final thought to chew on. Imagine if every single app on your phone came with a spec like this. If you had the complete as-built blueprints for everything you use every day, do you think software would be more reliable, more secure? Maybe more repairable? Something to think about.